The revenue process generally begins with a customer sales order, and that requires data from the inventory table and for the customer tables. This video shows how to enter a new customer in Dynamics GP. I'm logging in to the Fabricam company, and to create a new customer I will select Sales from the navigation pane and then go to the cards grouping. I will select Customer, which is a relatively permanent master type data file, similar to the inventory item and the vendor that we did in previous videos. So I'll go ahead and select Customer, and you'll notice this window, similar to the other windows in Dynamics GP that we've looked at. There is the Help button. Also notice that customers can either be placed on hold or given an inactive status. In the Customer ID field, you'll want to enter your GP ID. In my case, it is MLW242. And then go ahead and press Tab. I want to enter the customer name. In this case, I'm going to enter Watson ML. Go ahead and tab through. The short name defaults in, statement name, and then I'll tab over to class ID. In this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select small as the class ID, highlight and select. After selecting the class ID, you'll notice that the shipping method defaulted in, as did the tax schedule ID and the payment terms of net 30. In addition, the class defaulted in the salesperson's ID and the territory ID. Next, we'll go ahead and enter an address ID. A customer can have many addresses, such as a corporate office, the manufacturing plant location, or a warehouse. We're going to identify just one address, and we're going to call it the primary address. So I'm going to go ahead and select primary and then enter the contact information. Go ahead and enter an address, along with the city, state, and zip code. Other information can be entered, but we're going to, this will be sufficient for this exercise. Let's explore a bit before we close the customer window. If I select the Options tab, I can see other information that defaulted in as a result of selecting the class. We can see that the balance type is open item. And what this means is that when the customer receives his or her statement, then all the unpaid invoices will be detailed on that monthly statement. Conversely, the balance forward means that the customer's account total from the previous month will be brought forward, the detail for the current month listed, and then the total. We can see that there's a finance charge of 1.5% for late payments, that the credit limit is $20,000, and the maximum write-off without authorization is $25. So that looks fine to us. We'll just go ahead and say OK. And let's look at the accounts. As we look at the accounts, we can see, as expected, debit to accounts receivable when we series post the transactions. Likewise, a debit to the cost of goods sold, account 4510. And then we would have the credits to sales, 4110, and also to inventory, as we would expect. Now, if we look down a little bit further, we see write-offs, and we can see that the account is bad debt expense. Now, that's what you would expect if you were going to, if the method was the direct write-off method. If it was the allowance method, we would want a different account there. So if I wanted to change that, I'd use the lookup glass, and then I could either scroll looking for the allowance account, Or I could search, and I would want to search by description. So I'll go ahead and click on description, find by description. I'll type in allowance and then just move my mouse down to the field with the data, and we can see that the allowance for doubtful accounts is account 1210. And then if I wanted to select that account, I would go ahead, click select, and put that in instead of the bad debt expense. I'm going to assume that the company wants to have the bad debt expense as the debit. So we're okay here. And then we will go ahead and click save. We could enter another customer at this point if we wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and close. The master records can be modified anytime by those that are authorized to do so. So if I wanted to modify my customer, I'd go ahead and click the cards, and then I would enter my customer number, tab in, and then go ahead and make whatever changes I deemed necessary.